Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome all. And I got to say, folks, it has been a while. Missed all of you. I hope you are all doing well. But our New York Mets are doing phenomenal. Doing phenomenal. Everybody except for Mark Vientos. Mark Vientos went down with some sort of hamstring injury. But, when there's a little bit of darkness, there becomes positive, and it looks like for the sake of Mr. Ronny Mauricio, he will finally be making his major league return. Ronny Mauricio was our very top rated prospect. I believe he was ranked anywhere from our 6th rated to our 9th rated prospect right now. But Ronnie's been top 3. Ronnie's been touted for years and years. The Mets signed him when he was 17 years old, I believe to a $2.2 million contract at the time. But he's a guy that we have been waiting for a very, very long time. Now, I personally am very high on Ronny Mauricio. He's been tearing it up in AAA as of late. Tearing it up. Ronny Mauricio is coming off of a torn ACL. So the New York Mets this year, the plan was to take it easy. But because of the recent injury to Mark Vientos, it creates an opportunity. And when there's an opportunity, this is where, a player like Mauricio could take advantage. All right, so we're going to get into Ronny Mauricio. Let's look at some of his numbers. Let's look at the potential. What really makes him special? Because if you followed my channel, there is one guy that I've actually compared Mauricio to quite often. I want to get your feedback on that. But this guy's got a lot of talent, switch hitting, 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", shortstop, second baseman, middle infielder. The guy could play outfield. The guy is extremely special. So we're going to talk about how special he could potentially be, what the lineup may eventually look like. But we're going to talk about all things Ronny Mauricio this video. So stay tuned. If you didn't get a chance to hit the like button by now, hit the like button. If you are brand new or returning to the channel and you're not subscribed, subscribe. We love to have you here. All right, folks. So let's get into Ronny Mauricio. And again, Ronny Mauricio is having this opportunity because Mr. Mark Vientos unfortunately got injured facing the Dodgers. So that is a little bit sad. He tweaked his hamstring in the 10th inning on Monday's win. So we're hoping he is okay. But Mauricio, this is a comeback story. Mauricio tore his ACL in 2023 after making his debut a few short months earlier. And he has not appeared in a major league game since. All right. So Ronny Mauricio recently hit a massive homer in AAA, and his numbers are off the chart. Really, David Stearns said he's doing a great job. His health is the number one priority, and he's getting back, and he's building up volume. We're counting on him to do that. And he also goes on to say, anytime you see players consistently hit lasers all over the field, this is what you want to see. And that's what Mauricio is. As a 24-year-old, 6'4", switch hitter with speed, this guy can hit lasers all over. And if you don't remember, Ronny Mauricio was the guy who hit 117 mile per hour double when he was in the majors in 2023. So this guy has very big ceiling in terms of power, in terms of overall pop, in terms of overall skill. He is in probably the 1 percentile in hard hit rate. So, keep that in mind too. And a lot of times you measure a player's ability to hit home runs or how many home runs they can hit by their exit velocity. Not many players hit exit velocities of 117 miles per hour. You're talking about Ohtani, you're talking about Judge, you're talking about Alonso, you're talking about a very rare, minute part of the major leagues that can hit the ball that hard. And Ronnie, in a very short stint, has already done that. So keep that in mind, folks. All right, so let's get into like a little bit of the history of Ronny Mauricio. A lot of people are talking about Ronny Mauricio since his call up, and rightfully so. The kid's been through a lot. He's been in our system for quite some time. The big thing with Ronnie was, I believe, in 2022, 2021, the guy was always tall. He was always around 6'3", but he was slender. Over the 2021-2022 offseason, he put on almost 50 pounds of bulk, almost 50 pounds of muscle. So that's when, scouts really started to see his frame fill in and really started to salivate at this kid's potential. He was ranked again as high as the Mets' 6th overall prospect. Mauricio's strong frame and fast bat profile are what scouts are really identifying as upper echelon. His on-base percentage and place discipline have always been an opportunity. So he's always been, a guy who has, on-base percentage, and taking walks has always been something that he needed to work on. But over the next year, there's going to be opportunities where the pressure isn't going to be on this kid. I mean, you have other young kids on the roster and you have superstars. The Mets, that's why the Mets were taking it easy with him. The Mets really want this kid to take advantage of his surroundings, and that's why they are creating this opportunity in terms of, I don't want to say sheltering him, but, they're really doing a good job, taking the pressure off. I'll say that. So the Mets signed Mauricio when he was 16 years old in 2017 to a $2.1 million contract. Mauricio started playing with the Mets in 2018. He played 57 games. He slashed 273, 304 on base, 410 slug, 3 home runs, 35 RBIs. He was promoted to Kingsport over the final 8 games of that season, and then he slashed 233, 286, 333. In 2019, Mauricio quickly saw an ascension after his promotion. It's Mauricio has been in the minors for quite a long time. So this kid is really all deserving. So let me really get into what the meat and potatoes that I did. I want to get into kind of his scouting report, how he stands out from the rest. So Mauricio stands at 6'3". Some scouts have him at 6'4", but I've seen really 6'3" is his real height. Mauricio flashes great power potential, especially from the left side, where he hit 21 of his 25 homers in 2023. All right, good to note. I mean, he is a switch hitter, but 21 out of his 25 homers came from the left side. Good to know. His strength enabled him to post 117.3 mile per hour exit velocity for a double in his first major league at bat. Remember that the 117 mile per hour ball? That was in his first major league at bat. Wow. Marking the highest exit velocity by any Met in 2023. So, that was higher than any other Met that year. And there's enough power there for 30-plus homers in time. But Mauricio's approach seems likely to keep him from meeting that ceiling. He can expand the zone and chase pitchers of all types. And that's what we said. His opportunity is going to be plate discipline. No better opportunity than to learn from a guy like Juan Soto. And that's what I'm saying. The Mets are creating a perfect infrastructure around Mauricio so that he could thrive. And that's what I do like. I really like the infrastructure they have surrounded Mauricio with. Okay. So before the injury, Mauricio showed solid speed in his first taste of the majors. But the presence of Lindor always meant he was going to be moved around, meaning he wasn't going to play shortstop. He got the majority of his looks at second base, but also tried third base and left field. The injury will delay Mauricio from finding a full-time spot in 20. Okay, so this is an old quote. All right, but the bottom line is, folks, where does Mauricio kind of fit in this team? and where does he project for the future? Now, let me get into where he projects for the future because I think this is pretty exciting. This is very exciting. And I remember it was asked of me, and we have a lot of good quotes, a lot of great comments. Before the season, somebody asked if you wanted to make a big trade and another team came calling and they wanted one final piece, either Mauricio or Acuna to complete the trade. And we're talking about for a very good pitcher, but you had to give one of those players up. And without a doubt, the one player, even though I love this guy, and I kept him out of 99% of the trades, I said any day I would have traded Acuna over Mauricio. And that's because Mauricio's skill set, Mauricio could do anything Acuna could do, but he's got that massive power in his bag. Massive power, and that just puts him in a different stratosphere. It really puts him in a different stratosphere. I mean, we're talking about a 30-30 guy. I mean, the guy hits, switch hitter. I mean, this guy could be extremely special. When he came up a year and a half ago, the first instinct that came to mind in terms of projecting was L.A. De La Cruz. And I know that some folks may be like, he's nowhere near that. But, first of all, we have to see. We really have to see. Now, and if you look at what he's doing right now currently, what the Mets called him up in AAA, he was romping the ball. I mean, in 9 games, look at this, folks. In 9 games, he had 10 runs scored, 17 hits in 9 games, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. He's batting .515. Video game numbers. 564 on base, 818 slug, and 1382 OPS. So that is insane. Now, overall, he's played at 3 different levels this not spring training, but this year in the minors. So he's played at AAA, AA, and single A, altogether 19 games. So in 19 games, he's had a .323 batting average, 3 home runs, 11 RBIs, but in AAA is really where he took it to the next level. He kind of struggled more or less at single A and double A. But, as of late, Ronny Mauricio has seemed to find his groove. All right, so that's looking good. I mean, you tell me where you think he projects. Like a guy with his frame, with his tool set. And, I love the fact that the guy loves to play ball. I mean, he got hurt playing winter ball. This kid loves to play baseball 24/7. That's another thing I love about him. I love his drive. I love the fact that, hey, he showed me if he needed to bulk up, he put on 50 pounds in one offseason. This kid has showed you that he has the ability and can make the commitment to improving his body and elevating his game to the next level. That's why I'm putting this all together in evaluating this kid's overall talent. And I say special, folks. I say extremely special. I'm excited. I mean, if you look at it, just as of late, and we didn't talk about how the Mets are playing. All right, the Mets have the best record in the National League right now at 38-22, beating the Dodgers. I mean, we beat the Rockies our last series, but still, we're beating the Dodgers. We have a winning record against them this season. The New York Mets are looking very solid. Juan Soto, I mean, I haven't done many videos in the last couple of weeks, so Juan Soto, I had a lot of thoughts on him, but you know what? Let's stay on topic here. But the team, Juan Soto, Lindor, Lindor, I can't say enough good things about. I mean, anytime the Mets are winning, anytime they're doing something right, Lindor, it always seems like he's at the center of it. So I'm going to continue to call on, he's the captain in my eye. He is the captain. He will always be the captain, whether he has the C unofficially, not officially, in the minds of some, in the minds of none. I mean, I love Francisco Lindor. He's a Hall of Famer. Juan Soto is going to be a Hall of Famer. So you are creating great infrastructure around this kid. Now, you have Vientos grow down, right? So you have the opportunity created, but you still have Brett Beatty there. You still have Alvarez there. You still have Luis Angel Acuna there. So you have youth there as well, and you have experienced youth. So you like that. And then you have the veterans. You have Alonso, you have Soto, you have Lindor. So, you have a great infrastructure around this kid. He's not going to have all pressure to be great right away. And to boot, the Mets are doing phenomenal. So, the Mets, he is coming into a great situation. And it's not like Vientos is there. It's not like, Vientos is going to be looking over his shoulder like, oh, is this kid going to take my job? I mean, if it happens, it happens. But at the very least, at the moment right now, he's not playing. So at least there's not that tension that would have been created if you would have had Brett Beatty, Acuna, Vientos, and Mauricio on the same team. I mean, that's where it's a little tough. But, I'm not going to complain when you have a bounty of riches of young talent. I'm never going to complain about that. Never going to complain. But I am super, super excited. The New York Mets are doing, again, very well. And let me just look at this lineup really, really quickly. Let's see. How will he look? Yeah, I mean, they're probably gonna have him bat like, I mean, they're probably gonna have him bat. I mean, I would say 7 or 8 in the lineup right now. 7 or 8 in the lineup until he starts hitting at the major leagues. But you know what? I am super excited to see. Let me know your comments. I got to run right now. Thank you so much, folks. I appreciate everyone sticking with this channel. You know who you are. You are the best. Let me say that. We're going to put out more shorts, more clips, more stuff, more volume. We had a couple projects we were working on, but now and to be honest, we took a little rest from the channel. But again, I thank you so much. Have a great day, folks. I will see you all very, very soon.